When you think about the people at the very top of their game, in sports, in business, in the arts, what do you think got them there? For years, we've been sold this story about talent, right? About genius, about people who are just naturals. But what if that whole story is just wrong? Today, we're jumping into Angela Duckworth's incredible book, Grit, to find out what really makes high achievers tick. So, what is it? What's the secret sauce that separates the superstars from everybody else? I mean, our culture is obsessed with the idea of innate talent. You know, the child prodigy, the genius who makes it all look so effortless. But Angela Duckworth, the psychologist, she started looking around and realized that in the real world, talent just wasn't the whole story. Heck, it wasn't even the most important part. So, to get to the bottom of this, Duckworth went to one of the most demanding places on the entire planet, the United States Military Academy at West Point. Now get this, every year over 14,000 of the country's best and brightest apply. Only about 1,200 get in. We're talking team captains, valedictorians, all-star athletes. These cadets are the definition of high potential. And yet, a shocking number of them quit. And this is where we get to what's called the West Point paradox. It's this puzzle that had military psychologists scratching their heads for decades. How could you have these unbelievably exceptional candidates and yet have so many of them drop out? And why couldn't they tell who was going to make it and who was going to leave? 1 in 5. That's how many of these elite cadets wash out before graduation. And here's the real kicker. A huge chunk of those dropouts happen in the first 7 weeks. It's an insane trial by fire, known as based barracks, and it is designed to push these cadets to their absolute breaking point. Okay, so you gotta understand, West Point isn't just picking names out of a hat. They have this super detailed metric called the whole candidate score. It crunches everything. SAT scores, class rank, leadership experience, physical fitness tests, you name it. Its entire purpose is to find the people with the absolute most potential to succeed. And this is where the paradox just smacks you in the face. When Duckworth lined up the whole candidate scores of the cadets who stayed versus the ones who dropped out, they were basically the same. Let that sink in. Their entire record of talent and past achievements had zero power to predict who would actually make it through beast barracks. So, if talent wasn't the answer, what was? Well, Duckworth's research uncovered something totally different, a factor that had been hiding in plain sight. She gave it a name, grit. All right, so what exactly is grit? Duckworth defines it as this really special mix of two key things. First, there's perseverance. That's your resilience, your work ethic, the ability to get back up after you get knocked down. And second, there's passion, and not just a casual interest, but a deep, focused, long-term commitment to a single goal. And when Duckworth actually measured this in the incoming cadets, the results were frankly astounding. Grit turned out to be the single best predictor of who would survive beast barracks. It was more important than their SAT scores, more important than their class rank, more important than how many push-ups they could do. It all came down to their grit. You know, there's a line in the book that just nails it. The grittiest people, the highest achievers, they don't just have determination, they also have direction. It's that powerful combination of sticking with something and knowing exactly what you're sticking with it for. That's the magic formula. Okay, but to really get why grit is such a game changer, we have to talk about a huge blind spot most of us have. Duckworth calls it our distraction by talent. Think about it. We love the story of the natural, right? The prodigy who barely has to try. But Duckworth's point is that this obsession is actually kind of harmful. By putting talent up on this giant pedestal, we totally overlook the things that actually drive success. Things like, well, effort, practice, and grit. So Duckworth gives us this brilliant, super simple way to think about it. 2 little equations. Here's the first one. Talent times effort equals skill. Your talent is just your potential, right? It's your starting point. Effort is the thing that turns that raw potential into an actual usable skill. And now for part 2. Skill, the thing you just built up, times effort, again, equals achievement. So what's the one ingredient that shows up in both equations? Effort. As Duckworth puts it, effort counts twice. That's huge. Effort is what builds the skill, and it's what makes the skill produce results. So, this is all fascinating stuff, but it brings up the million-dollar question. Are you just born with grit, or is it something you can actually develop? Well,
This is where the research gets really, really exciting. And here it is, the best news in the entire book. Grit is not a fixed trait. It's not like your eye color. You can learn it. You can build it. You can absolutely grow your own grit, no matter where you're starting from. So how? How do we actually do that? Well, Duckworth lays out 4 key psychological assets that build on each other. It all kicks off with interest. You've got to find something you genuinely find fascinating. Then comes practice, the daily discipline of trying to get better. And that practice is fueled by a sense of purpose, a belief that what you're doing matters to other people. And finally, the thing that holds it all together is hope, that deep down belief that you can overcome setbacks and that your future can be better.
All of this really leads to one central idea, this core philosophy. And it's captured perfectly in an old Japanese proverb that really gets to the heart of what perseverance is all about. You see, at the end of the day, being gritty has nothing to do with being perfect or being the most talented person in the room. It's about stamina. It's about treating failure not as a final judgment on your abilities, but as a necessary and even valuable part of the process of getting better. And that brings us to this final quote, which just says it all. To be gritty is to fall down 7 times and rise 8. It means you might stay down for a minute, you might get discouraged, but you never stay down for good. What defines you isn't the fall, it's that choice to get back up. So I'll leave you with this. What's that one thing for you? The thing that's so important you're willing to fall down 7 times and rise 8.